Ashanti,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you a question. Like you mentioned, growing, growing up without a father can be challenging.
Yes.
How did you navigate?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the most difficult, parts and instances of my life, being a young woman and trying to get through life without a father figure.
Yeah.
And, having that daddy complex can affect you because you start trying to find father figures in other people.
And look for it outside.
Exactly. And it can, cause such an unhealthy situation for yourself in terms of your mental, emotional, and even spiritual health rather. And so it was very important, for me to overcome that very difficult time in my life, where I also was subject to getting into very unhealthy relationships, my dating life. You date men who are a little bit older than you are, who look after you and sort of fulfill the role of a father. So it's quite a toxic relationship.
Welcome to Ladypreneur. My name is Asanda and I'm your host. I would like to welcome our former Miss Earth South Africa, Ashanti Mogosetsi.
Thank you so much, Asanda. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and I'm excited to chat,
Welcome. Ladypreneur is a brand that embraces women in executive positions and entrepreneurship. So what I would like you to do to take us through your journey, tell us about your background. How did everything start?
Yeah,
sure. Your family structure.
Of course. I am a girl who comes from a large family, but in our household I was raised by a single mom. Okay. So I know what it's like to be raised by a strong woman, who takes initiative, and I think that's where I might have gotten some of my traits from as well. And I grew up a very social child, to say the least.
Bubbly.
Yes, extremely bubbly. I've tried, professional life can have a way of balancing that out for you. But I've been very social for most of my life, and I've really liked to take on different kinds of opportunities. So I embarked on a career towards sustainable transport, and then interfaced with opportunities to do the Miss Earth South Africa, where I advocated for green transport, and I was selected as the representative for the country in 2013.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me, who is Ashanti in a nutshell?
Yes, I'm very joyful. I love to be around people. I'm always conscious about others as well as the environment. I try to lead a selfless life as much as possible.
Yes.
Not perfect, but I really do appreciate that. I'm also very passionate about giving back and mentorship, and that's how I ended up establishing the SA Beauty Modeling Academy in Centurion, to try and give back in terms of what I've taken from the modeling industry and my opportunities to bring up young girls, particularly from difficult backgrounds and circumstances, to enable them to look forward to a bright future and to use those platforms to advocate for good.
Okay, please take me back, because I'm sure you had to go through some experiences to get to this level. Tell me your challenges and how did you overcome all of those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of life. Pain can sometimes become very purposeful if you have a particular way of looking at it. And I've always tried to be very positive about all of my experiences.
Yes.
And I grew up in tough circumstances. As I mentioned, I was raised by a single mom. I loved my father, but he was absent in my life. He got remarried.
SABC sued over bad clip of Ramaphosa. At the center of a lawsuit exceeding 12 million rand are the public statements made by a broadcaster soon after the incident that it had a strong prima facie evidence indicating that the broadcast of the incorrect clip was a well-considered and coordinated act of sabotage to bring the SABC and consequently the president to disrepute. According to Lucas court papers, the statement was false, malicious, injurious and defamatory as it painted her as the person who colluded with others to commit sabotage.
On other news, the Swag Group executives were caught on drone footage having a steamy session in their private jacuzzi. Lady Premier talk show host Asanda Ashley Tjokololo and Love Talk show host Temelani Dante Tukyuse were bumping and grinding in the jacuzzi as seen in our drone footage. Let's talk to our reporter who is at the Power Duo Penthouse Studios in Houghton.
So what's your perspective or what's your goal regards to love and support for an entrepreneurship?
Probably the most important ingredient to a human being thriving, whether that's in business or in life. Typically we look at psychological needs for a human being and we not only list them, but we kind of put them in a hierarchy, which ones tend to be more important. And when we look at kind of our 6 basic needs, typically we find that people need a sense of certainty and safety, a sense of variety or spontaneity in their lives, the ability to feel or a feeling of belonging or connection, the ability to grow or develop themselves, as well as a sense of significance, and finally the ability to contribute or serve to other people. When we see these 6 needs, we see these in almost every culture around the world from birth to death, and these become really important. But it's important to consider that you can't necessarily meet certain needs unless other needs are already met. And probably our most valued need for all human beings to start out with is a sense of emotional safety. We have to feel in our lives that we're safe and that we can care for others and be cared for in times of distress. And of course, this is where support comes in. Business is typically focused on significance, on growth, and on contribution. We're trying to meaningfully impact the world in ways that enrich ourselves and our loved ones as well as other people. And in order to meet these higher order needs, we have to first feel safe. And the best means by which to feel safe is to be loved and supported by those around you, to know that in moments of distress, in times when things don't succeed, you can be okay. Other people can be there for you, to look out for you, to hold you up. Because if you feel you don't have that, it's very difficult to move into this mindset where you feel you need to grow and take risks. So loving and belonging and feeling like other people will support us is absolutely crucial to anyone being able to thrive within a business environment.
Got remarried, started a new family, and that has also impacted and affected me in its own way.
Yeah.
I was then able to grow above that and start different opportunities and ventures for myself very early on. I got my first job at 15, waitressing.
Oh wow, you got
in
independent so young.
Exactly,
Yeah.
waitressing in a restaurant on the weekends between school, and my mother always knew that I had that independence, so she embraced it. When I turned 19, I then had the opportunity to au pair in the Netherlands. So I stayed in the Netherlands for a year, and there I was exposed to different transport systems. When I came back to South Africa, I was a captive user of public transport, so I had no choice but to use public transport. And that's when I noticed the ills in the transport industry for people who have to walk long distances or who can't particularly afford to access transport. So I decided to go into studying transport. And halfway through my studies, which also weren't easy, because we didn't have money at home for me to go into university. So what I had saved up from my year of au pairing, I at least started off my first year, but I really had to work hard to get a company to support me in terms of giving me a bursary so that I could continue on in my education. In my second year of varsity, I then saw an advert about Miss Earth South Africa. And that's when I decided to enter the platform. It's a leadership program that inspires young women to advocate for social and environmental causes. And that's when I knew that I could take transportation, which I was very passionate about, as well as the care for the environment, bring those two together, and then begin to advocate for environmentally friendly transportation. My journey of studying was also not easy. I had many challenges there as well, including losing my father in my final year of my
Sorry
studies.
about that.
Yes, and that was very hard for me because that's actually when we had started developing some form of a relationship. And that took a toll on me. And actually, I had emailed the Miss Earth South Africa to let them know that I'd be dropping out of the competition because I had experienced that trauma. And I remember...
I just wanted to go back a bit.
Yes.
Because I find it very intriguing that you have overcome that in a younger age, realizing that your dad was absent, but then you rekindle later.
Yes.
With me, I'll just tell you a short story. My parents got divorced when I was 13.
Yes.
I'm the firstborn, so I had to raise my siblings. So I had to be independent quickly because I had to raise my siblings.
It does that to you, right? Yeah.
Yes. So when my parents got divorced, I went through therapy.
Yes.
And that, in a way, it has helped me to start afresh and to start becoming more ambitious. It activated something. So I think that's what I'm getting from what you just said. You're just saying to us. And so have you always thought of entering beauty pageants when you were a younger girl?
Not specifically, no. As I said, the Miss Earth South Africa particularly was attractive to me because it had a cause behind it. There was a bigger and higher purpose than just, sort of putting your beauty at the forefront. But I saw it as a platform for me to be able to share and educate people about what I was passionate about. So I had never entered any other beauty competitions before that. The Miss Earth South Africa was my first, and then I went on to bag the title, which was a huge honor.
I see that you guys have met Prasem. Prasem has been responsible for the designing of the Ladypreneur logo, the one that we're using for the clothing and the talk show. Prasem is going to be showing Asanda how to use the brush so that she can have seamless designing on our lingerie brand.
Welcome, Prasem, to Ladypreneur. Prasem, please take us through about your brushes and how does it work?
This is quite simple, that's the reason why I created the product called pencil brush. You see this? It is a brush for pencil. Like the name says, pencil brush, it is a brush for pencil, but this is mainly for shading. The only things that you need is your pencils, the normal pencils. From the retail shops, you just go to the stationery shops, you get the normal pencils. I prefer using 2H for your outline. In this case, you just have to take the 2H, you do the outline.
So the 2H is for outline?
It's for outline because you mustn't press it hard. At the end of the day, it's just the contrast. You create a contrast between black and the light and dark. You mustn't see that line at the end of the day. Okay. You'll see it when the drawing is finished. There's no way you're going to see that. It's called outline, but once you have used the pencil brush to do the shading, you're not going to see that. It's just the contrast.
That's interesting.
Okay. So you need to be able to kill it at the end of the day.
And tell me, how does it work with the blending and the shading? What's the difference?
Okay. First of all, let's say you have the drawing, and in each and every drawing that you're busy with, you have to first start with the darker areas. Okay? You start with the darker areas, so you just pick your darker pencils. You B pencils, B pencils.
I thought it's the same.
No. B, it stands for black. Yes, it stands for black. So the darker numbers of Bs, those are the darkest. So you just have to take the pencil. In this case, for example, the bra here is dark. So you take the pencil and you start
filling in.
Filling in.
Okay.
But now, the brush comes when it comes to blending, because it looks ugly, when it's like that, it's not as smooth. So you take your brush and you blend. See?
Okay, I can see the difference.
You see?
Now.
But at the same time, the way I designed this product is it blends, but at the same time, the bristles of the brush, they absorb the lead of the pencil.
Okay.
This lead is very useful when it comes to shading the rest, you know, you don't lose anything.
Like, what was the inspiration? Because you created this,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
So what made you to say, you know what, let me start creating my own thing?
Okay. First of all, because I'm a portrait artist, people come with pictures of their loved ones. You say, draw this. But then, after doing my research, I've seen that a lot of people, they do what's called cross-hashing. You know, they just put lines.
Okay.
But you give me a picture which is smooth. Like, for example, I'm looking at your face.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. So why should I put lines where lines are not needed?
Okay.
So I said, no. I have to find a way of making it smooth, because that's what you expect from me as an artist. You expect something smooth, like you are. Your skin is smooth. You have to get it smooth as well. But because there was nothing in the market,
Yes.
I had to make now a brush for pencil.
That's impressive.
Yes, yeah.
So if someone needs this, you give us the information. Where can people get this as well?
Definitely, you know, there are some shops right now selling, like Herbert Evans are selling, some P&A shops are also selling.
Okay.
And you'd like to sell it even online and things like that there, but yes.
Thank you, Sam, for showing me how this brush works, because I'll be designing for Lady Prenay lingerie line.
If
And
you can
close that
even
gap.
picture that. Well, at least that's what I thought at the time.
Okay.
But reflecting on it now, I realize it didn't. You know, nobody can ever replace the role of a father, and it makes for unhealthy relationships because you create expectations and dependencies on people. And that's very unfair,
Yes.
you know, to meet somebody
the
and
next
expect
person.
them to fulfill that role of a father. So I had to go through a journey of firstly realizing that I had that problem.
Yeah.
And once I discovered that it was there and I owned it, I then went through my own journey of healing.
Okay.
And began seeing a therapist. You know, I spoke to somebody who helped me psychologically and was able to help me navigate coming out of my own mental thoughts and perspectives about, you know, not having a father and how I could troop and get through life and essentially overcome some of those burdens. So I always, you know, like to encourage people to seek mental help and assistance. It's very important for you to own challenges that you have and not put your burdens on other people, but rather to seek your own help and healing, go through that path, and you will find that speaking to somebody always helps, is very important. So get a psychologist, get a therapist, somebody who can take you through that journey of healing. That's very important for yourself. And today I'm married, I've got a healthy relationship with most male figures in my life, and I don't have to put people under that burden anymore. But I understand the role they play in my life and the value I can add in theirs. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
You can stop yourself from laughing.
Did it what?